Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of I Am Maxwell Hear Me Roar, and I'm here to talk about the free-to-play experience. A wonderful experience for all us gamers that don't exactly have the money to buy each new game that comes out. Of course, every gamer who has ever spent any amount of time with the free-to-play experience knows that free-to-play experience is here to stay, and that the developers of free-to-play games have to get money somehow, so they have to monetize, and that sometimes sucks. But we really can't fault them for that because, developers have to make money. And it's important to note that anything that those guys peddle, somebody's going to buy. So it's actually kind of important to talk about how these guys will monetize and what is good and what is right and what does not screw over not only the gamers, but the game itself. A lot of games monetize poorly by allowing their players to buy power. Facebook games do this all the time, with the easiest example being Farmville. Farmville allows you to buy better crops for real money. But we really can't get this confused with pay to win because Farmville is a super casual single player experience, and who cares if soccer moms buy fake pumpkins. This monetization system is more like if you're given a task and a person comes along and says, "Hey, I'll do that task for slightly too much money." And you say, "Okay, because I value my time more than I value my money right now." And that's really what it is. Eventually, the pricing of these types of items in Farmville reach a point where you value your time more than your money. And that's fine. People can value their time more than their money all the time, and it doesn't mean that the game monetizes poorly. Matter of fact, that's actually really convenient for people who want to get through the entirety of Farmville really quickly. The true culprits of bad monetization are games that embrace pay-to-win principles, either in a competitive setting or in allowing players to skip content. These aren't 100% pay-to-win, however, they contain elements that are a little more sinister in their monetization. For example, Eve Dust 514 allows you to buy universally superior weaponry and armor for real money. This system is completely distinct from the Farmville system, for the pay-to-win elements make the experience a little better for those that buy, but a lot worse for those that don't. This serves to divide the player base, which creates tension between those that buy and those that don't, and increases the workload for the development team, so nobody wins. In the example of games that allow you to skip content, some early builds of the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot and the new World of Warcraft expansion Warlords of Draenor come to mind. Because in those games you can skip the lower levels of content in order to just bounce up to the higher levels. The issue with this is not that it separates the player bases, but rather that it indicates a lack of respect for your game, which is bad for different reasons. These elements don't kill games because either the benefits are temporary or available without payment. Dust gets away with it because you lose those superior weapons and armor once your player character dies. While skipping content in a single-player game is much akin to the Farmville monetization, except for more extreme, allowing players to skip tens of hours of content for their convenience to the detriment of the integrity of the game. That really boils down how to not monetize your game. Let's move on to how to monetize your competitive game. And you can't really talk about ethical monetization systems in competitive games without talking about Valve's Team Fortress 2 and Dota 2, which allow you to buy cosmetic items in-game for real money. And the cosmetic item monetization system has a lot of really nice features. One, it does not separate the player bases like the pay-to-win-esque systems do, in that it makes the experience for the player that buys a little bit better, but it doesn't change the experience for those that don't buy. So you might have the most tricked out Sven ever in Dota 2, but my Sven can still do just as much damage as your Sven. So we're on a pretty even playing field. That's incredibly important. You have to keep the playing field even in your competitive game. Monetization for single player games is a little bit trickier because it's a single player game. So what are they going to be buying anyway? Are they going to be buying bits of the game? What are they going to be buying? You can sort of take the Farmville model and allow players to just expedite the process of playing the game, but that doesn't really show respect for your game. And that really brings us to the most generous free-to-play monetization model on the market right now, which is the game Path of Exile, which is a single-player experience that monetizes like Dota 2 via cosmetic items. And this is the most generous monetization model in the business because it is a full Diablo 2 style game for free. Just let that sink in. It's Diablo 2 with a different story and different classes and all that for free, and the only monetization is cosmetic items, custom animations, and like auras. This is incredibly generous from the developer, And only time will tell if this cosmetic monetization system will work for a single player game. But if this monetization system works out for Path of Exile, then I see no reason why I can't herald the cosmetic item monetization system as the only great way to monetize your game. So in a way, to be continued on this whole good monetization thing. And that brings us to the end of our time together exploring the many monetization options available to free-to-play games. We've seen the good, the not so good, and the possibly dangerous, but we couldn't really come to a conclusion because the free-to-play market is still quite young. But not quite as young as this show, and if you watched to the end, thank you so much. I plan on making many videos in the future. If you liked it, click the like button, and if you want to see more, please subscribe. My name is Maxwell Rex, and thank you for watching I Am Maxwell Hear Me Roar.